my lovely ones, it's Ethony and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, I am a tarot reader, tarot teacher, modern witch, mother, gamer, nerd, all of those things wrapped up in one. And I am here today with a massive US Games Systems haul. Now, I am blessed beyond compare to be able to get some of these titles from the publisher. So I want to say thank you so much. This is not a paid promotion, like they haven't paid me anything to share these with you. I just wanted to share with you some of their new decks and I'm so excited. All of the links for the decks shown are in the description box. And if you don't like haul videos, and you know, this probably isn't for you, but I have got, I think, 5 tarot decks and 3 oracle decks. Is quite a lot. So buckle up, let's get this party started. The first deck is the Heavenly Blooms Tarot by Noah Akita, and it is so pretty. As always, I'm going to swap over those cameras and show you some of the cards in the deck as well. This is very anime style, and it is really something gorgeous. Now, the deck is a little larger than a regular size deck. So this is my Bad Bitches Tarot for comparison. So it's a lot taller. It has the same gilding actually as my Bad Bitches Tarot as well, which is really cool. It's a very shiny, glossy cardstock, so you may struggle with that if you don't like that sort of cardstock, but I actually think it shuffles really, really well. And of course, you get a guidebook with the deck. In the deck, there is names of characters and there are stories in the way that the suits are described and how the cards are interpreted. There isn't a bunch of information, there's just a little bit, but it's enough to get you started. The backs are a beautiful rose, and really where this deck shines is its artwork. It is very, I mean, some of it looks very Zelda-ish, which is very cool. I'm currently playing Tears of the Kingdom, so it's very elemental. When you start going through the actual deck, you'll see that there is a sort of elemental spin to a bunch of the cards. So you'll see the same kind of characters throughout each of the suits, and there is, you know, that thoroughfare, which is really, really lovely. The design is gorgeous. I think in some of the cards it's a little basic. You know, it's a bit more like the character is kind of the focus point of the deck and not necessarily sort of what else is going on. Like, you can tell that it's definitely got a story to tell. I do love the court cards. I think the court cards are really, really, really pretty. But yes, it tends to be more about the art and more about the, I guess, the narrative and the story of the suits than it is like with classic symbols of the tarot. But if you are really drawn to it, I mean, you may not need all those classic symbols because it is extremely beautiful. And some cards are very, very much like a Rider-Waite-Smith or another deck, but some of them are quite bare. But it is absolutely gorgeous. The next deck is the Zodiac Tarot, and I am going to butcher the name, so I'm going to look at the box. And it is by Cecilia Latarari and illustrations by Ana Chavez. And I just wanted to make sure I was reading it. Many of you know I can't not read sometimes when it comes to different, just any titles. Now this is, I have been like, not lusting over, but very much wanting this deck for a good long minute. So I was very, very, very excited to get my hands on it. The box design is very liminal 11 sort of box design. So be careful, because like if you pick it up, this can just come sliding out. With the liminal 11, they have the little clasp to keep it in, which I really think is great. But as long as you maybe pick it up this way, you'll be okay. But I found that was, I drop things all the time. So that's a bit of a tricky wicket for me. And there's a box within a box. I mean, that's a choice. One thing I really do enjoy about this deck is the guidebook is in full color. So you have little snippets of each one of the cards. And of course it has the astrology in it, which is basically one of the reasons why you would want to work with this deck. And there's a tiny little bit of information at the back of how to read the cards. But overall, it's pretty much like any other little white book or little book you get with the deck. The deck is a little bit bigger again than a standard tarot size, but not by much. As you can see, there's just that little bit extra there. The sides aren't gilded, so that's like if you don't, you know, if you have strong feelings about gilding. The cardstock, it's okay. I can almost see it bowing. I don't know if you can kind of see that little bow there. And I literally just took it out of the box. But honestly, I'm going to shuffle the shit out of it anyway, so I don't care. I love the images so much. Like, it's very modern. It's very fun. That has constellations, the planets or the zodiac signs on it, so you can really pick it out very easily. It still has very Rider-Waite-Smith friendly images, so you are going to be able to read them pretty easily if you know the Rider-Waite-Smith system. I do love how the archangels look like archangels would be in the Bible, like the wings with all the eyes. I just think this is so fun. I cannot wait to work with this. I know I'm going to be holding on to this and working with it a lot. I teach astrology and tarot and read astrology and tarot, so this is going to be a heavy worker in my my collection. I may snag another copy because I do feel like I'm gonna, you know, work the shit out of this deck, and the cardstock, I mean, whatever. It's workable. It's pretty thick, and we have that very glossy. It's not as glossy as the Heavenly Blooms, but it is a little glossy. Only thing is like you can see my fingerprints. I hate that. I hate that. I don't like it when you can see the fingerprints. That's not the most fun. And the backs are plain, and I don't mind it. But honestly, this is fabulous. If you like the art style and you're into studying astrology and the tarot, this is definitely a wonderful place to start, or even continue your journey. The next tarot deck is the Pastoral Tarot, and this is, I have to admit, I've opened this and already started playing with it, and I've been reading with it, so at least I can tell you that I really think it is wonderful. Now, this is by I feel like a leviathan in art when it comes to tarot, Lisa Hunt, and I have every single one of her decks, and you will pry them out of my dead hands. I absolutely love them. And it's written by Lynn Arajo, and this is just, everything about it is so different. And I get that it's not going to be for everybody, but this is what I really love about it. I love a deck that has like, it takes a really specific point of view and it allows it just to be that, right? So first of all, this box, I know, sorry, I should take that out because it's a bit distracting, but this box is so beautiful. I love the lavender, like the fields, and then it follows through in this. Oh, it's just so pretty. So the box pulls out, and we even have the lavender on the inside, which I just think is gorge. Then we have a lovely big book, and this is like, you're going to get quite a ton of information in this because the writing is quite small. So you're going to be able to dive into this world really easily. There's a lot of lore in this book as well. So it's going to show you and tell you what has been put in the cards as far as illustrations and why. And I really enjoy that as well. So a lovely book, and it's that beautiful, I love the cover. Does anyone else sniff their books, or is it just me? Now, the backs are beautiful. Like, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Herbal Tarot. Just stunning back design. Now, as you will see, as I'm showing you some images, this is a landscape tarot, and there's not that many around. I don't know many tarot decks that are just landscapes. I know there might be a few, but this is the first mass market one, if I am correct. And I just think it is so darling. Like, it absolutely is very country. It is very seaside, if that's your kind of thing. Oh, the lovers is so pretty. I'm just going to show you the lovers just in case it's not shown in the mix, but it's, you know, very The Notebook with a dog. I think it's gorgeous. Lisa's artwork is some of my favorite. I have quite a few favorites out there. And Lisa, if you ever see this, I would love to work with you one day. Honestly, I think I would piss my pants. And I'm not, I mean, that's probably very unladylike, but I would like scream. My entire neighborhood would hear, because you are just someone that I have. Your Celtic Dragon Tarot was the second deck that I ever got, and I still have that copy and I love it to death. It is detailed and beautiful and welcoming. Shuffling it, you can just shuffle it like a regular deck. It is a little bit bigger, well, it is quite a bit bigger than a regular tarot deck, but you can just shuffle it, you know, in different ways. And I just feel like this is like the perfect deck to take with you if you're going away to the country for, you know, a holiday, if you're a city person like me, if you live in the city, or if you live in the country. This is a fantastic deck to have. I can't say enough about how much I like this deck. I know that, you know, it's not for everybody, but I could just sit and meditate on these images for so long because of the detail. And Lynn has done a great job bringing that to life in the book. You also get a little pouch, so you can put your tarot deck in there if you want to travel with it. But I like keeping mine in the box because it is a really beautiful box. But this, as you're going to see as I keep going through this video, this is becoming something that they're doing a little bit more, and it's very cool. So beautiful deck, Pastoral Tarot. I'm probably saying that all wrong. Everyone can come at me in the comments. And yeah, that's the next deck to show you. My next tarot deck is the Lorenzi Tarot, and this is actually by Irene Lorenzi. I got it right, I got it right. This is such a funky deck, and it is, again, not going to be for everybody, but I kind of love it. And the artwork is really superb. I know I have to come up with more description words, adjectives to describe the work that people are doing, but it's hard when you talk about stuff all day. Very similar to the Pastoral Tarot, where we have this very long guidebook, but it's just like, look at that. It is so pretty. I know that sometimes it's not the easiest to like lay out in front of you, but I like that it's very unique. The deck is a little larger than a regular tarot deck, but not by much. You probably even can't really see it. It's not gilded. The backs are very lovely, a nice simple design. Hopefully it's not washing it out here. It's very bright and very hot today. Where this deck really shines is the artwork. Now, Irene talks about this deck being born of duality and the journey of duality. And it's something else. Like this Emperor, for example, you know, it reminds me of Animal Farm, and I don't even know if that is what this is meant to be. Like, let's have a look. It doesn't say, but it reminds me very much of Animal Farm if you have seen the play or read the book, which I had to study in high school. So it does remind me very much of that. And the symbols in here are really, really beautiful. It's abstract and a little weird, and I'm really here for it. This is the kind of deck that I feel you could really benefit from doing path working and journey working, and even shadow work with this very interesting artwork that is going to it diverges from the tarot in a lot of ways. It's going to unlock a bunch of stuff. So think like Mariel Tarot, my Penumbra Tarot, for example. Like, look at this sun. We have the 2 David Bowies. It's just so great. So you will find throughout this deck there is lots of beautiful symbols, lots of birds, tons of birds in the swords. Actually, as I'm going, there's a lot of birdies, a lot of birds and lots of fishies. So if you like the animal kingdom, oh, actually the Pentacles has got a lot too. If you like sort of animals in your deck but want something a little more animal and human but a little bit weird, a little bit abstract, then this is probably the deck for you. It's going to be, I'm going to find it very interesting to work with this deck. I haven't started to work with it yet because this was such a massive set of decks that were sent to me, but I'm really looking forward to it. Have you worked with this deck? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your experiences. And the final deck to show you, and remember I have been sent 2 oracle decks as well, so keep watching, is the Ethereal Visions Lunar Edition. And my sparkly little magpie mind just had to have this deck too. This is by Matt Hughes, and I know that there have been there were some things around the Kickstarter and stuff, but I really wanted to have this deck in my collection because I feel like it's a beautiful deck, and I wanted to see how working with it would go for me. The deck is a little larger than a standard tarot size deck, and those are the backs. Those, very Australian. They're not gilded, but the fronts are. And so this is where it becomes like this really, oh, so sparkly. I like sparkly things. This is where it becomes that real, oof, kind of obsession for me. So I'm going to show you some more. I'll show you some more cards in a second, but here is the guidebook. So you get a little bit of information. What's in here? So we have the Hermit, astrological constellation is Virgo, and then a little bit of information about the card, and then upright and reversed keywords. So there's a little bit to go on in the guidebook. Again, these are, you know, sort of standard guidebooks for decks. It's not a full big baby, but it's a great place to start. As I'm showing you the cards now, you can see why my magpie mind just really wanted this deck. I know that there are different cards in this deck to the original version. I just don't have that, so I'm not quite sure. The deck is quite minimal, so if you struggle with that, this may not be for you, but there is enough of the callback to the Rider-Waite-Smith that you're going to be fine working with this deck for sure, if that's a system that you know well. But of course, you can always use your intuition and go from there. I quite like Art Nouveau art style, so this for me is absolutely not a problem, and it's really pretty. I feel like if you took this to like a fair or a public reading, like if you're doing a bachelorette party or a market, this would be something that people would be really drawn to because of the sparkle. And I think that it's also a little bit gentler because of the imagery is more Art Nouveau. So I feel like that's going to be a really good place to work with it. I don't know how the gilding will last for on the front with heavy shuffling, but we will see. Time will tell. Let me know if you have this deck and how the shuffling has gone with the gilding on the front. I would love to hear from you. But it is beautiful. I actually think this version versus the original is what I prefer, and I'm really looking forward to reading with it. The next is our first oracle deck from US Game System, and it is Wild Woman Rising. And I just have to say, from a design standpoint, I love this lip. This so smart, makes it so easy to open. They have the clamshell boxes, and I just think it's really beautiful. This, I'm going to read the names because again, she struggles. The art is by Jenna Della Battaglia, and many of us know her. She's had a million decks out there. She's worked a lot with Colette Baron Reed, for example, and the deck guidebook was written by Angie Sullins. And just this here, I remember showing this to my wife and she was like, I am obsessed. So I don't even know if I got to really have a look at it because she ran off with it. Now, when you open the box, you get a little pouch, and I have to say I'm going to use these for like crystals or something like that because I don't usually put things in pouches unless it's a special one, because I like the boxes. Because honestly, if I'm going to be taking the deck with me somewhere and the box gets the shit kicked out of it, I don't care as much. It's the cards inside that I want to keep protected, and I feel like the box is the best way to do it. But it's a cute little option if you don't like boxes. The box design is really pretty. I mean, check out that wolf. So gorge. Now, these cards are slippery little suckers. They have that high gloss. So, you know, like I can fan them out really easily. So very glossy, very reflective. It's gold gilded, so that's really beautiful. The guidebook is quite sparse. That's one thing I will say for this. There isn't very much written in there. I do know that this deck, that's another deck I really want, the Witch deck, but it is, yeah, it's quite sparse. Like if you're looking for a deep dive oracle guidebook, this ain't it, honey. But the artwork is so pretty. The backs are gorgeous. I don't really care about the high sheen. It can mean when you're taking photos of the decks, whether you do that for social media or you do that for your clients, it can be a little bit rickety. But this is beautiful. So as I'm showing you cards, the artwork is really where this shines. And yeah, I feel like it's very very connected to anyone who works with animals, anyone who works with elementals. But as you can see, there's an animal for each one of these wild women, and you can even dive into this sort of terrain of what is the story behind all these. So I really enjoy that. And while I wasn't, if you watched my video about some oracle decks that I received lately, I didn't love the last one that I had from Jenna. This one is really quite beautiful. Like I feel like I could just sit with the women in this card and they would speak to me. There's a little koala, so I you know, love that. So there is something quite beautiful about this deck. When I read this, I know it's going to be very intuitive. I may look at the guidebook, but I don't think I'm going to use it as like a big piece of study, if that makes sense. But it is very, very beautiful. And the final deck from US Game Systems that was sent to me is Love Who You Are. And I already love this deck because the cover is gorgeous. I love Luna Moths, and that color palette is just like yummy, yummy, yummy. This is by Angie Sullins and art by Silas Tobel. Again, I had to look because I'm atrociously bad at names. We have this beautiful opening, and we also have another little pouch, but that's going to go in I have a massive like box of pouches and stuff that's sent to me from things, so I always reuse them with my Etsy sales and stuff like that. Another beautiful box, gilded, and the same sort of sheen as the last deck I just showed you. And the guidebook has about the same amount of information. So these guidebooks, while they're beautiful and I love the big card in it, you could even just do some like, you know, give me a message today. Oh, I actually got the poem, but like you could do like, give me a message today. And I got, gather your nuts. I don't have any. I'm sorry. I don't have any nuts. There's nothing together. But, you know, you could just see that as your message because it also has the card in it. But yeah, there's not a lot. Yeah, I don't, yeah. Oh, it's the same person. 10 points to Ravenclaw that Ethony just figured out these are the same author. Everything about the decks are really gorgeous. And if the message is succinct and it gets you what you need to get, then that's great. So I'm not, please don't come at me in the comments. I do think that it's really beautiful. Love the backs. The backs are beautiful. So again, the artwork is gorgeous. This is a little more collagey, so you can see there's like layers of like the background, and then there's a focal point in the middle. But I actually really love it. And I don't know if it's because these colors are just so me, like the pinks and the teals and there's a little, you know, pastel. Obviously, like anything with bees and insects is like really gorgeous. I do like some of the messages in here as well and the images. So I just, yeah, it is really gorgeous. It's really, really gorgeous. So I do really like the deck a lot. I haven't read with it very much at all, but I would definitely be using my intuition and going from there rather than sort of using the guidebook a lot. It's more the cards that I'd be working with and the keywords. So this one says like sing your own song. So I mean, I could take it from there, but definitely using the guidebook can be a way to go. So that's it. That's my haul from US Game Systems. I hope you enjoyed this, even if you were just having a look at what's available. Let me know in the comments below if you have any of these, if you're working with any of them, what's your favorite. come into the comments, because as you know, it really helps my channel. It takes a moment, and yeah, it really, really does help. I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.